Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to build and how to develop a conceptual model. I'm going to be showing a couple of my papers and how I did this. First of all the variables you have here are the ellipses. Okay, they are latent variables. In other words, we're capturing them using scales. Most of the time it's going to be like a Likert scale from 1 to 5, 1 to 7. I'm going to be recording another video just on scales quite soon. Okay, so the first thing you need to keep in mind is that the variables, we're not creating them, we're not imagining and like getting them from, I don't know, memory or just from our heads. Those they are coming from the literature. Okay, so people are using these variables. Someone back in the day created the scales or developed the construct, and you're just using them. So when you're developing a conceptual model, you should ask yourself the first initial question. You should ask yourself, do I have the variables? Okay, or the idea I'm testing, do I have the variables? And then you're going to locate the variables. You're going to locate papers that are testing conceptual models as well, or in some way they're testing the constructs you're going to be implementing in your research. Once you find them, most of the times it's going to be several papers. It takes time to locate them, but you're going to make a combination of several papers. Um, it's going to be quite difficult unless you're replicating a research that you're going to find all the variables you need in one single paper. So in the case of this initial paper right here, influencing cobras, what we have, CBB is a construct that will have brand awareness, brand associations, perceived quality, and the brand loyalty. So all of them together, they are CBB. In the case of the model, this is a second order factor. In other words, this latent variable is loading this latent variable that consequently is a formation of several items. Okay, this is a little bit more advanced. Most of the times you're going to be dealing with that. Okay, it's the same. Actually, this is the same construct, the same model testing, but two different perspectives. Cobras, once again, is a combination, or um, all the three variables, right? They are part of Cobra. So it's a consumption of brand-related social media content, contribution in terms of clicking, sharing, liking, brand-related content, and the creation of brand-related content. What we have here, it's a rectangle, right? Those are observable variables, okay? So you're not using a scale, but you're using like a measurement that gives you a number, such as, let's say, age, that's going to be the age of the respondent, or gender, that's a binary type of data, right? The 0, 1. Social media usage probably capture in different ways, in hours of usage, or types of social media. It depends. This is like most of the times for control variables we're using demographics. This part of the model, this is advanced already. This is something I used for a mixture model. I specified the model to say, okay, this component of the model is going to change according to brands. Most of the times you're not going to use that anyways. Okay, well, let's keeping in the simplicity of the model building. Okay, so we know that we needed to have the variables. Okay, in this case, all of them are latent variables in this part of the model. All this together, it's brand equity according to the literature, okay? And all this are cobras according to the literature. What's the difference between the two models? Here I'm saying that brand equity influence cobras. Here I'm saying that brand associations is going to influence the consumption, contribution, and creation of social media brand related content. Same with brand loyalty and perceived quality. So we have like specific elements influencing specific elements. As you'll notice here, the arrows are pointing towards the latent variables. Okay, so again, age, gender, and social media usage are influencing consumption, contribution, and creation. Let's check another one. Let's go for this one. In this case, it's a latent variable right there for internet gaming disorder. And we have the items loading. This is something we don't see in the model here, the items. Sometimes we can put it in, sometimes we do not. Because mainly we know that those are latent variables and they should have a minimum of 3 items. We need to know the methods, to know the scales, to know how it was measured. But here we have a visualization of that. The next model here, again, you have hours and weekdays influencing gaming disorder, hours, weekends. Those are, as you'll notice here, rectangles, so they're observable variables. Hours per session, so like people, the playing hours for the weekdays, the playing hours for the weekend, the playing hours for a session, okay, influencing the latent variable, which is this one, encompasses 9 items. Another one right here. This is a CFA model, a confirmatory factor analysis. As you'll notice here, you get like the arrows, they are like pointing to the 2 latent variables. In other words, they're correlating. This is a big correlation analysis. Okay, if you could put it like in a simple way of explaining this. Again, consumption, contribution, and creation, this is something we already checked in the first model. And then you have the items. Okay, so for example, I read posts related to brand X on social media and so on. Here's the specification of those. There's another model right here that's a kind of mediation model. That's you get like a one variable in between. You have a consumption influencing contribution, contribution influencing creation. Okay, and we know again that creation is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items that related to the variable. One more. This is the one most of the times I used in my classes, okay, because of the simplicity of that. What we have here, we have a firm-created communication and user-generated communication. Okay, those 2 variables are influencing, once again, brand equity, brand attitude. Attitude is influencing equity, and equity and attitude are influencing purchase intention. Once again, ellipsis, it means that all of them are latent variables, so they're going to be a minimum of 3 items. Sometimes you're going to see like a papers with 2 items, but this is against the literature. The best practices, the literature is going to mention it's going to be a minimum of 3 items. Okay, sometimes it can be more than that. There's like a threshold for this as well. About 5 items plus or 6 items plus, it's not going to change much the output you're getting. Okay, so it's not like the more you get, better it is. No, as long as it's reflecting the the definition is fine. Another one right here. What we get here, same story as we had the brand equity described right here. This is another way. This is according to use paper that you have a brand awareness and association measuring one single variable. Loyalty and quality. So we have like a firm created social media communication, user generated social media communication, influencing the variables. The difference between this one and that one and this one is the way it was operationalized. So the operationalization of this is one single variable. Okay, so you have like a set of items that are going to reflect overall brand equity. In this case, you have brand equity as a result of brand loyalty, awareness, and associations together, and perceived quality. Next, I'm going to record only about scales.